Hi guys, I thought I'd talk to you today about the Foundry Chocolate Anamalai India 70% bar. This just won the Supreme Award at the New Zealand Chocolate Awards, and yeah, I thought I'd talk to you about how we judge at those awards, how to taste chocolate properly, and why this bar won the Supreme Award. So yeah, I was lucky enough to be judging again this year at the New Zealand Chocolate Awards, along with a group of about 14 other chocolatiers, pastry chefs, various people from the industry. And yeah, there were a lot of fantastic entries this year, a lot of really great bars in the bean to bar category. But yeah, this one took out the top award, and yeah, it's the first time a straight single origin bar with no added flavours has won the Supreme Award. So in terms of tasting, a lot of people probably don't want to go to the sort of super involved high level tasting that we do at the awards. You know, most people are happy just to sort of enjoy something at surface value, a delicious chocolate that sort of hits the spot, and not think too much about it. We're all busy, and we've all got enough to think about without getting too complex about chocolate. But some people really get a lot from getting into the sort of higher level tasting, and if you are interested, this is just to sort of help you on that journey. And yeah, personally I find that when you get really into it, it's something that can really add depth to your enjoyment of chocolate, which is always a good thing, I reckon. So yeah, in terms of tasting, first of all, you want to make sure you've got a good clean palate. If you've had sort of really heavy foods, spicy foods, anything that's sort of you're still tasting on your palate, it's going to affect how chocolate tastes to you. So the first thing we always do at the awards is to cleanse the palate. You can do this in various ways. Generally, like sort of quite plain foods are good. So sometimes we use like water crackers, plain couscous can do it, which doesn't sound great, but does do a good job. Also, things like a piece of apple or a piece of cucumber can work quite well. Some water, sparkling water if you can. And personally, I actually really like a sort of mild white tea. I'm a real tea person, so that's just kind of what I prefer, and I just find it's a good thing to yeah, cleanse the palate without affecting it too much. And I also find it's quite good to have a warm mouth when tasting. It kind of makes the flavors in the chocolate burst a little bit more. So first of all, when you're tasting, step one is to look at your chocolate. And so we've got an open bar here of Foundry Anamalai. So we'll take it off first. We'll check the snap. That's a good clean snap. That's a sign of a good temper and good consistency. And then yeah, first thing we do is have a little look at it, and we're just kind of looking for any kind of blemishes, marks, any bloom from the cocoa butter or the sugar, any general imperfections from the molding and tempering. But I can see here that, as I would expect, this piece is really perfect. It's got a good shine, consistent color, good snap. It's everything we're looking for. Step two is to smell your chocolate. So have a good whiff. Now, it's funny with smell. Sometimes I find that you get a really, really strong smell from a bar, and other times, in fact, more often than not, I just find it has a nice chocolatey smell. It doesn't tell me heaps about how it's going to taste. What we're really looking for when we smell is off flavours, anything from sort of badly fermented beans that have a bit of a funky smell, or in milk chocolate you can get a bit of an off flavour if the milk powder hasn't been used well, or it's a bit old, or anything like that. So it's just kind of like, yeah, looking for any abnormalities. And also with the smelling, it kind of prepares your palate for what you're about to taste, just like with wine or any other kind of tasting really. You know, smell is a big part of it, and when you have a smell, it really kind of prepares your taste buds for what they're about to experience. So then step three is we listen to the chocolate, and no, I'm just kidding, we don't listen to it. Step 3 is to assess the flavour and texture, which is obviously the main part of what we're looking for. So I'll have a little try of this. And first of all, texture. We're looking for a nice, what we call a slow melt. Obviously you want your chocolate to be smooth, and I usually have like a couple of bites and then just kind of move it around my mouth and let it melt slowly, rather than kind of chewing quickly and swallowing. We're really letting it kind of do its thing in the mouth. And with a cheaper chocolate, you'll find that it'll often have a really quick melt, usually because it's got much higher kind of sugar content, higher cocoa butter content, much more refined. And yeah, so a lot of people kind of just look for smoothness initially when they first start getting into chocolate, but as well as smoothness, we want a slow melt. And that is because it kind of links in with the flavour. The thing that separates good chocolate from great chocolate is what we call the flavour journey. So with a good chocolate, you might have a piece, it's got a really nice smooth texture, it's got a lovely flavour, and you know, it's very enjoyable, and that's fine. You know, we sell chocolates like that, no problem. We're happy with things that have a good texture and taste good. But the really, really top level chocolates are the ones where you've got a flavour journey. So what I mean by that is it has an initial flavour, and then it kind of develops as it melts in your mouth. So like with this chocolate I just tried, I put it in my mouth. Initially I had a kind of nutty, slightly fruity flavour. As it melts, it just starts exploding with different fruits, like berries, citrus, bright, almost floral, like elderflowery, just like bright tropical kind of vibes. And that just keeps building as it melts. So this slow melt that we look for is kind of directly tied into what we call the flavour journey. If you've got a quick melt, there's no time for a good flavour journey. So yeah, it's definitely, in terms of a top level award-winning chocolate, that's what I'm looking for. Something where it's not just kind of one flavour, kind of monotone. It's something that develops over time, and also has like a nice long aftertaste. Good chocolate, you should still be tasting it 10-15 minutes after you've tried it. And in terms of picking out flavors and flavor notes, this is something that a lot of people maybe struggle with or don't quite understand when they first start tasting sort of high-end craft chocolate, where you can pick out flavor notes like that, just like with you know, tasting wine or beer or coffee or anything. So I mean, for me, I kind of just switch off, and I have a pretty clear memory of flavors from my life, and I'm just quite good at sort of picking out the flavors, and I don't know why, that's just kind of how I am with it. But for people who aren't able to do that just kind of out of thin air, there are some things you can use to help you if you want to, you know, discover flavors. It can be quite fun when you get into it. So quite common is like what we call a flavor wheel, where it's just kind of maps out all the different flavors that you can taste in chocolate. I've got one that I designed, which comes with our chocolate tasting course. It's essentially like a flavor wheel, but it's as a star, and yeah, it sort of helps you identify the core groups, like, you know, is it fruity, is it spicy, is it nutty, is it chocolatey? There's all these different things, and then you can get deeper into it. And some people like to use something like this to think about the flavors as they're trying the chocolate and see if they can pick out things that they're noticing, and that works well for a lot of people. Another thing you can do is, so this is called Taste with Colour. This is a sort of tasting flavour map that my friend Hazel Lee put together, and Hazel has like this thing where she really associates colours with tastes, and I think we all have this to a degree. So this kind of maps out all different flavour notes that you can find in chocolate, and, you know, attaches different colours to them. It might seem abstract, but actually it makes a lot of sense if you think about like a citrus flavour, say, or a berry flavour. You're generally thinking sort of bright colours, yellows, reds, oranges kind of thing. Deep and rich colours, you're probably thinking more in terms of brown. So some people really connect with that and find that a good way to taste. And yeah, that kind of connects back to this bar actually, because David and Janelle at Foundry, they're pretty cool with their packaging, and they actually used some of the colours that you would associate with the flavour notes of this bar. You know, it has really bright tropical fruit flavours, citrusy. It's a real kind of taste explosion, and they used the kind of colours you would associate with those flavours on their packaging. So it's quite clever. I've not really seen that done before that much, and yeah, it really adds to the whole experience of the bar and helps you yeah, just get the full experience, the full flavor notes from that cacao. And yeah, it's quite an involved experience, but I find it very rewarding when you get into this kind of tasting. And hopefully, you know, some customers of ours have developed this over time, or are developing it, and are learning to taste chocolate like this. And I think there's a lot of enjoyment to be had out there when you discover chocolate at this level, and how to truly appreciate it. So yeah, hope you found this video interesting and helpful, and if you've ever got any questions about chocolate tasting, please feel free to get in touch. I'm always happy to chat chocolate. And yeah, hope you all had a good Easter, and wish you all the best for the next couple of weeks, whatever's going on, all this craziness. Best of luck, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Cheers, bye.